Alexandra Carter built a hotel out of grit and borrowed money. Now, it was slipping through her fingers, just like her ex, the woman who had loved her in the dark, but never in daylight. As Watamu's waves rolled on, palms swaying, her boutique paradise became a waiting room for failure. Chapter 1. Her phone buzzed. She didn't look. No good ever came from a notification. Not since the breakup exploded across social media, leaving her hotel's name in ruins. One of her workers, Hassan, joined her in the empty lobby. "Bad news," he muttered. "Of course it was. It always was. The eco-travel group wants confirmation. The tours we've included," he continued. "But we have no tour guide. And if we can't provide, they'll pull out," Alex interjected flatly. Losing them would be the final nail. "There's one freelancer available," Hassan added cautiously. "Serena McKenna. Good reviews. Popular online." Alex's stomach turned. Popular online was the last thing she needed. 20 minutes later, a 4x4 Safari Land Cruiser roared into the driveway. Soon, Serena Bianchi McKenna hopped out, curls escaping her bun as she held out a phone, ready for a selfie. "Watamu Sunrise Hustle," she said into the camera, flashing her best smile. Hashtags flowed through her mind, easy as breath. Hashtag coastal life, hashtag blessed. Anything to keep the followers, jobs and money coming. Mama's medical bills couldn't wait. When she hopped out, she found a blonde woman waiting with arms crossed like a wall. Tall, toned, short hair, stance sharp as a blade. Serena knew the type, wealthy and powerful. They looked right through you unless you proved yourself useful. "You're late," the woman said. "You're uptight," Serena shot back before she could stop herself. The words tasted good, reckless. "Relax, I'm Serena, driver, guide, miracle worker." "Alex Carter," the woman said. No handshake offered. No smile either. Just a cool appraisal that made Serena itch. "Owner, manager, person already regretting this arrangement," Alex stated. Serena grinned wider. That's what she did with people who tried to diminish her.
All right. Quick break from the angst and romance. Let's talk about something every traveler knows too well. Flight delays. Is your flight delayed? Again? Did the airline agent smile like bad news was her side hustle? Well, you could actually get paid for that. Meet Compensaire. They handle the airline, the paperwork, all the drama, while you sit back and wait for your refund. All you do is enter your flight info. If you qualify, you could get up to $600 per flight. So next time your airline gives you lemons, squeeze compensation out of it. Use Compensaire. They only get paid if you do, so you have nothing to lose. Click the link below this video to claim what's yours. All right, back to the story.
"Competence," Alex continued. "That's all I need from you. Not commentary." "Oh, trust me," Serena said, pocketing her phone. "I deliver competence." They locked eyes. Neither blinked. One refused to need, the other refused to care. Shortly, Serena's taillights disappeared down the coastal road, but her smirk lingered. That night, Alex stood on the terrace, watching storm clouds gather over the sea. "This woman is going to ruin me," Alex whispered. A similar thought plagued Serena as she drove home with the window down and the salt wind in her hair. Chapter 2. The guests arrived before sunrise, 30-odd Europeans in hiking boots and wide-brimmed hats. They buzzed like bees. Alex stood in the lobby with her practiced smile, the kind that felt more like a mask these days. Her hotel had once been enough to impress on its own. Now it needed bells, whistles and miracles. Miracles apparently came in dusty 4x4s. Serena. She was casually leaning against the driver's door, chatting up two guests in rapid-fire Italian. Her curls bounced as she tossed her head back in laughter. Someone snapped a selfie with her. Alex's teeth clenched. This is what we've come to. Relying on a woman with hashtags for business cards. "Okay, my eco-adventurers," Serena called out, switching to English. "Today we meet Watamu the real way. No filters needed, I promise. Though a good filter never hurts." Laughter rippled through the group. Alex's staff, what remained of them, laughed along. Alex only folded her arms tighter. Serena felt the weight of Alex's glare like heat on her skin. Typical hotel type. Bossy, uptight, waiting for someone else to fail. Serena had met her kind before. Women who thought money gave them license to look down on you. But she refused to shrink, not today. Not when every bill in her mother's hospital file ticked like a time bomb. Instead, she turned the charm higher. Guided the guests with easy confidence, dropped trivia about mangroves, and tossed in a joke about Italian hand gestures. She even taught them a few Swahili phrases. The guests ate it up. Alex, from the corner, looked like she'd bitten a lemon. By the end of the morning, the group was glowing with praise. Serena basked in it, proud despite herself. Then Alex cornered her outside the kitchen. "You think hashtags and banter can run a hotel?" Alex's voice was low, sharp. "They came here for nature, not your ego." Serena didn't flinch. And yet they were smiling. "Tell me, when was the last time your hotel made anyone do that?" The words slipped out hotter than she meant, but the flicker in Alex's eyes was worth it. Not anger, something else. Something unreadable. For a moment they stood close, too close, neither willing to back down. Serena could smell salt on Alex's skin, see the hard line of her jaw. Then Alex stepped away, as if distance were armour. "Don't mistake approval for substance," she said. "Performance fades." "Maybe," Serena shot back. "Maybe not." That night Alex poured herself a whiskey on the terrace, storm clouds piling heavy over the sea. Serena's laugh still echoed in her head. Infuriating, dangerous. Down the coast, Serena lay on her narrow bed, scrolling through photos from the day. Every frame had Alex in the background, arms crossed, eyes sharp. Trouble in human form. Both women tried to sleep. Neither managed it. Each was certain of one thing: the other woman would be their undoing. Chapter 3. Serena parked the Land Cruiser in the hotel's back lot. Dust coated her arms and throat like sandpaper. She wanted a shower, a cigarette, and to forget she'd agreed to this job. Inside, the lounge smelled of furniture polish and nerves. Staff were huddled in a half circle. Alex stood in the middle, sleeves rolled. Her voice sharp enough to cut through the air. "We are not finished." "Not yet. Guests still come here for Watamu, for authenticity. That's what we give them. No excuses." The waiter shifted his weight. The housekeeper picked at a rag. They all looked tired. Serena leaned against the doorframe, amused. Authenticity? In this market, hotels survived on hashtags and drone shots. This woman was either naive or too stubborn to choke on her own pride. Then Alex's gaze snapped to her. "You," she said, pointing. Serena arched a brow. "I'm not staff. You're contracted." "That counts," murmurs. Serena stepped into the room, crossing her arms. "What exactly do you expect me to do? Drive your guests around until they forget your scandal?" The room froze. Serena felt the words land like a slap, but didn't take them back. Alex's jaw tightened. But she didn't flinch. "I expect you to help prove this place is still worth saving. And lay off the social media." Serena laughed under her breath. "Then you've hired the wrong girl." She turned to leave, but Alex moved, blocking the exit with a deliberate step. Arms folded, eyes locked on Serena's like steel. "Then prove me right," Alex said, low, dangerous. Something jolted in Serena's chest, unwelcome, electric. She hated the way this woman got under her skin, and yet she couldn't look away. Serena had promised herself she wouldn't get sucked into hotel politics. She was here to drive, nothing more. An hour after Alex's staff talk, she was at the desk, flipping through a stack of guest itineraries. Alex had made it very clear. "You can either sit here and sulk," Alex had whispered to Serena, "or you can work off the advance we paid you. Walk out and I'll make sure every hotel on this stretch of the coast knows you don't honour contracts." Serena had bristled, heat flooding her chest. Blackmail, basically. The worst kind of power play. She'd opened her mouth to snap back, only to remember her mother's voice, thin and hopeful, over the phone. "Anything you can send this month will help, Serena." So she stayed. She'd rather scrub toilets than bow to Alex Carter. But if desk work was the price of keeping the job, she'd suffer through it. Chapter 4. The phone on Alex's desk rang with the kind of insistence that spelled trouble. She picked up. "This is Mr. Vanderhorn's assistant," the clipped British voice announced. "He is dissatisfied. He expected a seamless arrival. The vehicle was inadequate and unsatisfactory. He is considering cutting short his stay." Alex's stomach dipped. Vanderhorn was no ordinary guest. He was a travel blogger with 500,000 followers. A single post of his could make or break her battered lodge. I'll handle it, she said, before the assistant could sharpen the blade. She marched to the terrace. Vanderhorn sat there, red-faced in his linen shirt. He fanned himself like royalty. Serena leaned against a pillar nearby, wiping dust from her arms. Mr. Vanderhorn, Alex began, voice calm. I apologize for your experience. We'll ensure the rest of your stay exceeds expectations. Doubtful, he sniffed. Your driver was 20 minutes late and this place... His eyes swept the terrace. It doesn't look as it did online. Serena's mouth dropped open. Late, I was early. You were the one still bartering over duty-free whiskey. Serena. Alex's tone cracked like a whip. But Vanderhorn was already smirking. This is exactly the attitude I mean, he said. Unprofessional. I'll be leaving tomorrow and letting my followers know. That last part hit like a fist. Alex saw the staff in the background whispering, hope leaking out of them like air from a punctured tyre. Her hotel couldn't afford this. She turned to Serena, forcing herself to breathe. We need to fix this. My office now. Behind the closed office door, Serena crossed her arms. I don't perform miracles for free. Then perform one for your paycheck. Alex's eyes burned into hers. Take him out. Show him the real Watamu. The sea turtles, the reef, the markets. Make him forget his complaints. Serena let out a low laugh. You want me to babysit a tipsy, spoiled tourist? Yes, Alex's voice was flat. Because if he posts about this place, we're finished. The air between them crackled. Serena hated the wealthy ordering her around. Alex hated begging anyone. But the stakes pushed them together, unwilling partners on a sinking ship. Finally, Serena grabbed the car keys. Fine, but if he pukes on my seats, you're paying for the clean-up. Alex almost smiled. Almost. Chapter 5. The cruiser rolled down the tarmac, wind breezing through the open windows. Serena gripped the wheel tighter than usual. Beside her, Vanderhorn droned on about his loyal audience. They trust me implicitly, he said. Meanwhile, Alex rode at the back, silent as a stonefish. Serena had sworn never to babysit tourists again. And yet here she was, chauffeuring a man who treated her like part of the scenery. She could feel Alex assessing her every move. Like Serena was one more gamble she'd been forced to place. They reached the reef as the tide began to pull back. The sand glittered, the sea stretching out like liquid glass. Serena parked, hopped down and swung open the door. Watch your step, she said, not bothering to mask the sarcasm. Vanderhorn ignored her, fumbling with his phone. Good light. Very authentic. He started walking backward, angling for the perfect shot. Careful, Serena began. Too late. His foot slid on a patch of slick rock, and he went down with a yelp, one leg plunging into a shallow tide pool. For a second, Serena bit back a laugh. Serves you right. But then she caught Alex's expression, tight, furious, and swallowed it. She rushed, offering her arm. Come on, up you get. Vanderhorn scowled, water dripping down his pressed trousers. This is exactly what I mean. Amateur operation. He turned his phone towards Serena. Maybe I'll make a story out of it. Luxury ruined by incompetence, he said, snapping away. Alex's voice cut sharp. Delete it. Vanderhorn blinked. Excuse me? Delete it, she repeated, stepping forward. Or I'll let every lodge from here to Lamu know you care more about drama than facts. Serena stared. It wasn't just the threat, it was the steel underneath it. Alex defending her. Vanderhorn hesitated, then tucked his phone away with a mutter. Fine, but I expect better treatment. Then you'll get it, Alex said, even though her jaw was tight enough to crack. The three of them trudged back to the cruiser in brittle silence. Serena caught Alex's eye once, as if to ask, why risk that? Why risk anything? Alex looked away first. Back behind the wheel, Serena tightened her grip and started the engine. The ride back would be long, tense, and full of words unsaid. But for the first time, she felt uncertain about her desire to walk away from this job. Chapter 6. The next morning, the staff WhatsApp group was buzzing. It wasn't about Vanderhorn's tantrum. It was about something worse, a photo Alex's ex, arm in arm with her new fiancé all over Instagram. The captions were all about her family's acceptance and her living authentically. It was the mother of all ironies. After treating me like a bad secret, she now shouts her love from the rooftops. Alex mused with some bitterness. The comments section was a battlefield. Snide jokes about Alex, the hotelier who got dumped twice, first by her girlfriend, then by her guests. Alex stared at the screen in her office, stomach coiled. It didn't matter how many times she swore she'd stopped looking. The past had teeth. Wendy, her business rival, was fueling it. She commented with sly emojis, ensuring it reached the guests Alex needed to win back. A knock at the door. Serena leaned in, casual as ever. "You've seen it, yeah?" Alex's head snapped up. "Seen what?" Serena arched a brow. "Please. Everyone's seen it." She stepped inside, closing the door with her hip. "Look, I can help with this. Spin it. We push new photos of the hotel. Authentic shots, but glossy enough to drown the noise. I can make it trend. Trust me, I know how." Alex's laugh was bitter. "Filters and fakery? That's your solution?" Serena bristled. "It's called survival. Or would you rather bleed out with dignity while Mwenda eats your bookings?" The words landed harder than Serena intended. Alex's jaw tightened, colour rising in her cheeks. "I built this place on authenticity," Alex snapped. "Not hashtags. Not masks. I don't want your kind of help." Silence crackled between them. Serena looked away first, her throat hot. She hated that Alex's words stung, because maybe they were true. Maybe her whole persona was a mask, but she wasn't about to admit that. "Fine," she said, slipping back into her practiced smirk. "Bleed out on your own, then." She left before Alex could see the flicker of hurt she couldn't hide fast enough. Chapter 7. That afternoon, Serena picked Alex up from a business meeting in town. Their ride back was quiet. Serena focused on the road, one hand on the wheel, the other placing her phone on the console next to her seat. Nothing could patch the sting Alex left behind. Filters and fakery. The words still burnt. A notification flashed across Serena's phone, too quick to hide. Alex caught it. The subject line was impossible to miss. Overdue medical bill, urgent. "Who's sick?" Alex asked, her tone cutting through the hum of the engine. "No one," Serena snapped, locking her phone. Alex wasn't fooled. "Don't lie to me when I'm sitting right here. It's none of your business, except you're on my clock. If you've got somewhere else to be, say it now." Serena's grip tightened on the wheel. For a moment, she looked like she might floor it and leave the conversation behind. Then, with a hiss of frustration, she slowed down the vehicle. A few meters ahead, she swung the cruiser down a side road instead. "Fine," she muttered. At the end of the lane stood a low-slung, weathered house, walls the pale pink of sun-faded plaster. A small garden spilled with cassava and herbs. A chicken scurried across the path. A woman, older, frail but sharp-eyed, stepped out onto the porch. "Serena," she greeted in a warm tone. She spoke in a mix of Kiswahili and Italian, her voice thinning with fatigue. "Mama?" Serena softened at once. She moved forward, kissed both her cheeks. She then steadied her, as though afraid the breeze might topple her. Alex hung back, caught off guard. The confident, sarcastic Serena was gone, replaced by someone gentler, careful, protective. Serena's mother examined Alex with interest. "You're the hotel lady?" "Yes, Alex," she cleared her throat. "Your daughter's been helping us a lot." My daughter helps everyone," she smiled. "Karibu!" Her tone carried pride and warmth. Inside, the house was sparse. A worn sofa neatly kept. A shelf lined with religious figurines and faded family photos. Serena slipped easily into caretaker mode. She fetched water, arranged medication on the side table, and asked questions in Kiswahili. Her words sounded casual yet pregnant with concern. Alex watched from the doorway. The scene felt intimate in a way that rattled her. Not romantic, something more vulnerable. "You don't have to hover, Mama," Serena says, trying for breezy. "You hover too much yourself." Her mother shot back with a small smile. As Serena tidied the room, her mother's thin fingers brushed hers. She pointed to a pile of gorgeous hand-woven mats in the corner, their sun-bleached fibres strong. "Take one," she murmured. "For your road. A home travels with you if you carry it." Serena smiled, a little embarrassed. "Mama, it's just a mat." Her mother's eyes sharpened. "Not just. It holds the work of hands, the prayers of years. a reminder of home. Alex's chest tightened. The words were not meant for her, yet they settled inside her all the same. She looked at Serena, who avoided her gaze with a tense jaw that revealed a flicker of emotion. Alex almost smiled too. When Serena caught her looking, she bristled. "Don't read into this. Everyone's got responsibilities. I wasn't..." Alex stopped. She was. She'd only seen Serena as shiny and perfect. Now she saw the truth. A woman stretched thin, balancing different worlds. "I should..." Alex made an uncertain gesture toward the door, but Serena shook her head. "You're already here, sit." It was awkward at first. Alex perched on the sofa while Serena prepared tea on a single-burner stove. The room smelled of cardamom and a subtle medicinal scent. Later, as Alex sipped her sweet tea, Serena teased her mother to eat more. A strange warmth tugged at Alex. This closeness is something she hadn't had in years. She caught Serena's profile in the dim light, soft and strong all at once. Something shifted, unexpected and unwelcome. As they stepped outside, dusk settled over the lane. Alex said gently, "You don't have to carry this alone. If you need..." Serena's head snapped around sharp. "I don't need saving. Not from you. Not from anyone." The words landed hard. Silence pressed down between them. Alex swallowed back the sting and climbed into the car. They drove in silence, the air heavier now, not just with conflict, but something unspoken. Halfway back to the hotel, Alex surprised herself. She said quietly, "When my father left my mother, she had nothing. No job, no savings. Just me. She worked herself raw just to keep the lights on. I hated her for it sometimes. Hated the exhaustion in her face, the way she never laughed anymore. But now," she trailed off, shook her head. "Now I just wish I'd thanked her. Once." Serena glanced at her, startled. The confession was bare, stripped of Alex's usual armour. "She must have loved you a lot," Serena said quietly. Her voice carried none of its usual edge, only a kind of careful warmth. To give that much of herself. She hesitated, then added, softer still, "I think she'd forgive you, Alex, for not saying it then." For a beat, neither spoke. But something shifted in the silence, the faintest thread of understanding pulling taut between them. Chapter 8. Serena tightened her grip on the steering wheel. Controlling the car felt like the only anchor against whatever Alex had stirred up. As they reached the main road, Alex's phone started buzzing. One notification made her tense up. Mwende, her oldest rival, was showing off her revamped resort all over Instagram. "We're stopping at Mwende's," Alex ordered. Serena's jaw twitched. The last thing she needed was to play audience to another rich woman's stage show. She was aware that Mwende had made it her business to intercept Alex's clients following the scandal. But Alex's tone invited no argument. Minutes later, they pulled into Mwende's glittering driveway. Everything gleaming a little too perfectly. Mwende knew how to play an audience. Her resort sparkled like a showcase. Infinity pools gleamed. Waiters glided with trays of champagne. Every palm tree was lit, perfect for Instagram. The influencers lapped it up. Alex noticed how their phones never left their hands. Fingers danced across screens, eyes bright as though they'd stepped into paradise. Alex stood on the edge of Mwende's reception terrace, jaw tight. This wasn't competition, it was theft. If Mwende landed that glowing review, Alex's hotel was finished. "Don't stare too hard," Serena muttered beside her. "You'll give her wrinkles by proxy." Alex ignored the jab. She was too busy watching Mwende herself glide toward them, draped in silk, smile sharp as a blade. "Alex," Mwende purred, extending manicured fingers. "What a surprise. Still afloat?" The barb landed, but Alex refused to flinch. "Enjoying the borrowed shine?" She shot back, low. Mwende's smile only widened. She turned to the influencers, seamlessly adopting a charming demeanour. "Darling, wait until you see our glass-bottom Dow. Perfect for your followers. You'll never want to leave." Alex's chest tightened. The couple beamed, already sold. Panic clawed up her throat. Years of work, reputation, survival, all slipping away. "We should go," she muttered, tugging Serena's elbow. But Serena stood rooted, eyes narrowing at Mwende's performance. Her lips curved in a smile Alex recognised as dangerous. "Or," Serena said, voice light but firm. "We show them something better." Alex blinked. Better? With what Serena cut her off. Watamu, the Watamu she's yet to offer. The coral gardens few know about. The fish market before dawn. Hidden beaches. Real places. Beyond this. Mild introduction to Watamu. For once, Serena wasn't smiling. She was fierce. Conviction burned in her dark eyes, and Alex felt something jolt inside her chest. The influencers perked up. "A hidden Watamu?" the woman asked, intrigued. Serena shrugged, casual as if she hadn't flipped the board. "If you want glossy, stay here. If you want real, come with us. Your followers will know the difference." Wende's mask cracked just for a second. Alex saw it. More importantly, the tourists saw it. The woman exchanged a glance with her partner. Maybe we should see both." "Great," Serena said smoothly. "Tomorrow morning. Bring comfortable shoes," Alex wanted to argue. To remind Serena this wasn't her hotel, her fight. But the influencers were nodding eagerly, already hooked. And Wende looked ready to spit nails. For the first time all day, Alex smiled. Chapter 9. Watamu by day was what influencers showed online. White beaches, resorts, and those familiar turquoise drone shots from travel hashtags. But what Serena gave them now was something else. The cruiser jolted off the paved road onto a narrow track shaded by baobabs. "Welcome," she said over her shoulder, grinning, "to the version of Watamu Google won't show you." The bloggers perked up, phones ready. But it was Alex's glance Serena caught in the rear view, skeptical but curious. First stop, the fish market. Chaos, colour, the sting of salt and scales. Serena wove between stalls, greeting fishermen by name, tossing easy jokes in Swahili. She slipped a piece of grilled octopus into Alex's hand before she could protest. "Try it, no filters." Alex hesitated, then bit down. Her face, half grimace, half surprise, made Serena laugh out loud. Alex rolled her eyes, but the corner of her mouth betrayed her. Later, at mid-morning, they went to the coral gardens. Serena snorkeled with the guests. She pointed out parrotfish and guided them away from sharp rocks. Alex lingered at the boat, arms crossed, pretending to supervise. But her gaze kept drifting, not to the guests, to Serena, hair slicked back, eyes alive, utterly at home in the water. When Serena hauled herself back into the dhow, dripping and radiant, Alex looked away too late. Their eyes locked. A beat too long. The tour went into dusk, narrow alleyways filled with woodcarvers, kids chasing the Land Cruiser through villages. After the village tour, guests were treated to a night boat ride. Lanterns swung gently, casting golden circles across weathered planks. The guests, tipsy on wine, vanished below deck, leaving Serena and Alex on the open boards. "You hate this, don't you?" Serena said, teasing, chin tipped toward Alex. "The chaos. The noise. No 5-star gloss." Alex smirked, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I don't hate it." She paused. "I just don't trust it. People sell you paradise, but then fail to live up to it." Serena tilted her head, studying her. For once, she didn't deflect with a joke. "Not everything's a scam, Alex." The boat swayed gently, lanterns casting amber light across the water. Waves slapped against the hull. Their rhythm matched the unsteady beat in Serena's chest. She leaned back against the rail, pretending the breeze was the only reason her skin tingled. Alex sat close. Too close. Their knees brushed every time the boat rocked. She didn't move away. "You planned this whole hidden tour in a day," Alex said, her voice low. "Rough." "I didn't think you had it in you." Serena smirked, but her mouth was dry. "That's your problem, you think too much," she said, smiling as she stood up to fetch some drinks. Another mild wave rocked the boat, enough to send Serena off balance. Her foot slipped on the damp planks. She gave a startled laugh, grabbing for the railing. Before she could fall, Alex was on her feet, arm closing around Serena. Strong, steady. For a heartbeat, Serena froze, breath catching. Alex's grip was firm, her toned forearm taut with effort as she held her close, grounding her. They were chest to chest, Serena pressed against the solid heat of Alex's body. Alex's lips twitched, not quite a smile. Her eyes lingered on Serena's face, longer than they should have, dark and unguarded in the lantern glow. The silence between them stretched, heavy, intimate. Serena shifted, meaning to break it, but the movement only brought her closer. She could smell her now, sun, sea, something faintly vanilla. "Careful," Alex said softly, the word huskier than it needed to be. Her hand lingered on Serena's arm, thumb brushing once, absent-minded, almost protective. Serena's breath caught. The warning wasn't about balance. It was about this, them. Serena's laugh died on her lips. Her eyes flicked up, caught Alex's, dark, intent, unguarded. The world funneled down to this impossible closeness. Serena leaned in, instinct guiding her. Alex held still. Didn't let go. One more inch and they'd close the distance. But Serena's courage faltered. She jolted back, masking her reaction with a quip. "What would I do without my bodyguard?" She slipped from Alex's grasp, her tone light, too light. Alex's hand fell away with noticeable effort. She looked at Serena for a long, unreadable moment, then turned back to the dark water. The lantern swayed, its flame guttering. The air between them burned with everything unsaid. Chapter 10. When they docked, the influencers had begged off early, exhausted from the day's whirlwind. Staff left one by one for the day, leaving the lodge quiet. Shadows grew long across the veranda. Alex should have retreated to her office, Serena to her quarters. But neither did. Pride kept Alex from being the first to leave. Serena, still buzzing from saving the day from Wenday, wouldn't give Alex the pleasure of looking unshaken. They stayed on the terrace, two stubborn women refusing to end the night. Alex leaned against the railing, holding a tumbler of whiskey. The smoky liquid held the same danger-laced comfort she felt whenever Serena entered a room. Serena, who now stood a few feet away, barefoot, nursing a glass of wine. Her hair was let down from the day's braid. The bistro lights licked gold against her cheekbones. "Word is Monday's resort is trending on Instagram," Serena said. She stared at the horizon, as if it mattered more than Alex. Alex stilled, her gaze on Serena. "Good for her. That's all you're going to say?" "She's not here," Alex said, taking a sip. "You are." Serena blinked, caught off guard. Then, to cover it, she smirked. "That's a dangerously smooth line." Didn't say it to be smooth. Alex shifted, the glass dangling loose in her fingers. Her sleeveless shirt left her arms bare. Serena's gaze dropped briefly to the toned lines of her shoulders before darting back up. The silence stretched, unspooling between them like a live wire. Serena valiantly tried not to remember how those arms had felt around her that afternoon. Instead, she cleared her throat and asked, "So, why Kenya?" Alex exhaled through her nose, giving the question some thought. "I guess I wanted to catch something I couldn't anywhere else." Serena tilted her head, waiting. "Like lions?" Alex's eyes cut into hers. She shook her head slowly. "Not lions." The pause lingered, eyes dipping to Serena's lips. Enough to thicken the air between them. Something rarer. Harder to hold on to. Someone rare. Serena's breath caught. Her hand trembled, causing the glass to shake. She laughed, a low, thin, nervous sound. "You're reckless with your words." Alex stepped closer, their arms now brushing, deliberate. Her tone dropped. "No, just careful with who I spend them on." For a brief moment they were face to face, close enough to feel each other's breath. Serena's pulse skittered in her throat. Alex's hand twitched at her side, fighting the urge to close the inches between them. Serena's voice lowered, almost swallowed by the crackle of the fire. "Alex." Just then, Juma, one of the lodge staff, appeared at the doorway, asking if they needed another bottle. The moment broke. Serena jolted back, too quick, too obvious. Alex leaned away, dismissing the worker while masking the sting of rejection with a sip of whiskey. After Juma's retreat, Serena still wouldn't look at her. "Long day," Serena murmured, setting her glass down. "I should—" "Sure," Alex cut in, too curt, but she couldn't help it. Serena paused at the doorway, shadows cutting sharp across her face. Her lips parted like she might say something, an apology, an excuse, a confession. But instead she nodded, hair slipping across her cheek, and disappeared inside. Back at her quarters, she pressed her back against the door and shut her eyes. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, as though she had just finished a run. She touched her lips, acutely aware of their previous proximity to Alex's. Too close. The smart thing, the safe thing, would be to draw a line now. To remind herself who Alex was, why she unsettled her so deeply, but the echo of Alex's words lingered. Something rare. Someone. Serena sank onto the bed, staring into the dark. Sleep would not come easily tonight. Back on the lodge's veranda, Alex nursed her whiskey. She rubbed a hand over her face, willing away the heat that had nothing to do with the alcohol. Too much whiskey, she told herself. It had to be. The warmth in her veins, the desire to close the distance, and the bold honesty that had escaped her lips. But when she tried to swallow the lie, it stuck. The whiskey couldn't blur the memory of Serena's surprised eyes. It didn't dull the memory of how her arm had felt against hers. Alex stared into the dark, jaw tight. Damn it, she muttered under her breath, though she wasn't sure if it was aimed at the drink, at Serena, or at herself. She set the empty glass down harder than she meant to, and the sound rang out sharp across the quiet night. Still, she didn't move. She couldn't, because if she went to bed, she'd have to admit to herself just how badly she wanted what had almost happened, and wanting was dangerous. Chapter 11. The morning sun shone brightly, indifferent to the fact that Alex had hardly slept. It pierced the shutters, sharp and cruel, mocking her restless tossing that she tried to disguise as sleep. She had stayed out on the veranda long after, the ocean whispering secrets she couldn't afford to hear. She told herself it was the whiskey that made her linger on Serena's almost kiss. She told herself she didn't care. Now, facing the mirror, she doesn't believe a word of it. Downstairs, the lodge hummed with tension. The influencers were quiet. They were glued to their phones, whispering softly. It made Alex's skin prickle before she even asked. Something wrong, she tried, her voice sharp enough to cover the coil of dread tightening in her stomach. The wife, usually bright and full of smiles, didn't meet her eye. She just passed her phone over. Alex stared. Her blood running cold, a photo, grainy but unmistakable. The Dow's lantern cast long shadows. Alex held Serena close, their faces mere inches apart, with Serena turning toward her. The caption was even worse. Scandal never stays buried long in Watamu. And beneath that were #closetlove, #hotel-drama, #messy. Her pulse spiked, throat burning. Where the hell did this come from? The husband shrugged, already scrolling. Wendy's account. Looks like one of her people snapped it. It's everywhere now, everywhere. Social media, always known for its perfect timing, Alex thought sardonically. Serena barreled in, sunglasses perched on her head, her smile easy until she saw Alex's face. What happened? Alex thrust the phone at her, expression fierce. Serena blinked, colour draining from her cheeks as she took it in. She swallowed hard, but the mask didn't hold. Panic flashed, raw and naked. Oh God, no, don't you dare act surprised. Alex's voice cracked like a whip. She hated the sound of it, hated that it shook. Turning on her heel, she retreated to her office with Serena hot on her heels. You knew this could happen, Alex accused. You showcase yourself online every damn day, but when it's real, when it's me, suddenly you hesitate. Serena flinched, words catching in her throat. Alex, it's not that simple. You don't know what it's like for me. Not that simple. Alex laughed in a jagged, humorless way. It's simple enough. You wanted the adventure without the cost. Wanted to play fearless online while making sure no one ever really sees you. Serena stiffened, eyes flashing. And what about you? Miss Untouchable, too proud to admit you're terrified of being hurt again. You think you're better because you don't hide? At least I'm not. She cut herself off, breathing ragged. Alex stepped closer, fury and hurt boiling together. Look, I don't know what this is between us or if there's anything. But I can't be anyone's secret Serena. No. Serena's voice cracked. Her hands shook as she fumbled with the phone. I can't. You can't be seen. Alex finished for her, bitter as limes. You can't stand next to me without calculating who's watching. Yeah, I got that. The words hang between them like shrapnel. For a heartbeat, Serena looked like she'll break. Then her chin lifted, the mask snapping back into place. Not everyone can afford to live like you, Alex. Some of us don't get to be brave. Silence. the kind that drowns. And then Serena was gone, storming out, slamming the cruiser's door so hard it rattled the window panes. Alex stood, fists clenched, chest hollow. For once she didn't bark an order, didn't rush to fix things. She let the emptiness settle, heavier than any scandal. Chapter 12. The silence stretched. It clung to the hotel like humidity, thick and unrelenting. Staff moved with the wariness of people waiting for something to collapse. The laughter that returned to the lodge after Serena's hidden Watamu tour was gone. Only the echo of absence remained. Alex felt it most at the reception desk, where she stared at the ledger until the numbers blurred. 2 cancellations this morning, 3 yesterday. The influencer's glowing reviews were the hotel's best shot at saving its reputation. She, however, feared it might not make a difference now. Numbers don't lie. Bookings continued to plummet for the next 3 days. Staff whispered about jumping ship. And for the first time, Alex didn't bark at them to get back to work. She no longer had the energy. In the evenings, she sipped her whiskey. It burned down her throat, a false kind of warmth that did nothing to thaw the ice lodged in her chest. A year ago, she would have sworn she could weather anything. She'd built this place from scratch, brick by brick, fighting for every guest, every review. Now? She wondered if she's been clinging to ruins no one wanted. On the 3rd night on the other side of Watamu, Serena drove with no destination. Her phone buzzed, text from Jonas, a message from a brand that wanted her to shoot an adventure reel. She ignored them all. The photo wouldn't leave her head. Not the way it looked online, cheap and weaponized, but the real moment. The closeness, the possibility she'd almost let herself take. She pulled over at a deserted beach, slamming the steering wheel with the heel of her hand. Why did she care so much what strangers thought? Why is the idea of being seen as herself so terrifying? She knew the answer. Visibility wasn't safe. Not in this country. Not for her, but Alex's words kept echoing. I won't be anyone's secret. Serena closed her eyes, mentally let the waves crash against the shore. Maybe Alex was right. Maybe she was a coward. The thought scalded more than shame. Both women felt just as they had before they met, alone, trapped by fear, convinced that the other was a mistake, but neither could stop replaying the fragments of what almost was. Chapter 13. Alex glared at her glass like it might offer answers. Hours ago, someone had dimmed the lobby lights, and the sea hush remained steady outside. The bar smelled of citrus peel and salt. Another night she hadn't gone upstairs. She didn't hear Mrs. Thandi until the lodge chef dragged a chair out beside her. No greeting, only a steady look, the knowing kind that older people gave. The kind Alex had avoided since childhood. You're breaking this place with your pride, the older woman said, folding her arms. Alex's jaw tightened. We're low on bookings. It happens. It happens because you let the past choke the present. Mrs. Thandi's voice was calm, but it cut. You built this hotel on love once. Now you run it on fear. Fear of loss. Fear of shame. Fear of needing anyone. Alex stared into the dark swirl of her drink. You think I'm afraid? I stayed when everyone else left. The older lady leaned closer. You're still hiding. Maybe not in closets like others, but in your own way. Behind the scandal. Behind that hard face. Behind your I don't need anyone mantra. The words landed heavier than any gossip. Alex opened her mouth, but no answer came. Only silence, and the echo of Serena's face, hurt and furious, walking away. Serena lit the stove with a shaky hand, the hiss of gas filling her mother's tiny kitchen. Jonas lay sprawled on the worn couch, faintly smelling of beer and sweat, watching her too closely. You look like hell, he said. Look who's talking. She clattered the pan louder than necessary. He smirked. No, I mean it. You've been running yourself dry. Driving tourists, paying my debts, keeping Mama's lights on. And now what? Pretending you don't care about that hotel woman? Serena froze, the oil spitting behind her. Not your business. Jonas sat forward, sudden sharp. It is. You live for everyone but yourself, Sari. You hide so deep you don't even notice. When do you live for you? The question burned hotter than the stove. She wanted to laugh it off, but her throat closed. Sari, I know protecting your brand means a lot. But Is it worth your happiness? She sliced through the vegetables, blinking against the burn in her eyes. She told herself it was the onions. Later that night, 2 women, 2 dark rooms, both staring at nothing, both hearing the same words echo back. You're still hiding. When do you live for you? But neither had an answer. Chapter 14. The courtyard pulsed with life. Music, frying oil, the tang of sea wind. Alex had thrown open the gates, invited locals and tourists in for free. Might as well go out with a bang, right? She told herself. The lodge, once stiff with silence, now breathed like it remembered how to live. Serena lingered in the shadows near the gate, hands clammy. She'd told herself she was only coming to drop off a few supplies Mrs. Thandi had requested. Nothing more. But then she saw Alex, sleeves rolled, laughing with a guest as if the weight of failure had lifted, and Serena's chest ached. Jonas's voice rang in her head. You live for everyone but yourself. When will you live for you? Her pulse roared. She could still turn around, disappear back into her curated safety. Instead, Serena walked forward. Onto the makeshift stage, past the stairs, the lifted phones, the whispers. She knelt, laying one of the mats at Alex's feet. Not as decoration, as declaration. My mother told me once, Serena began, voice trembling, that a mat carries a home with it. That when you give it to someone, you're saying, here is where you belong. She looked up, straight at Alex. I've been afraid to be seen, afraid to claim anything as mine. But tonight, I want you to know, you are where I belong. The courtyard stilled. A weightless hush, thicker than silence. Alex's eyes widened, not with triumph, not with shock, but with something deeper. She bent, slow and sure, and drew Serena up from the mat. Her hand lingered on Serena's jaw, thumb brushing her cheek, gently wiping a solitary tear rolling down, and then, in front of everyone, Alex kissed her. Not performative, not polished. A kiss that said, I belong here too. The crowd erupted, cheers, whistles, applause. But Serena only heard Alex's whisper against her mouth. That was braver than anything I've ever seen. Serena's eyes stung, but she smiled. For once, the smile was not for the camera. Later that night, the festival gradually faded into embers. Guests trickled away. The hotel, once loud with life, hushed into a softer rhythm. Alex leaned on the veranda railing. Her muscles ached, but her chest felt lighter than it had in months. The hotel wasn't saved yet, but maybe she wasn't carrying it alone anymore. Behind her, footsteps. Light, hesitant, Serena. For once, no mask. Her hair loose, face bare of makeup, the swagger stripped away. Just her Alex didn't turn right away. That was some speech, she said, her voice rough, half tease, half awe. Serena stopped beside her, close enough their arms brushed. She let out a shaky breath. It wasn't a speech. It was an apology. I hope it's the kind that matters. Alex turned then, catching the rawness in her eyes. It was the look she'd been waiting for. Unfiltered, no defense. I'm sorry for making you feel like a secret, Serena whispered. You deserved more than that. You always did. For once, Alex didn't answer with words. She cupped the back of Serena's neck, thumb brushing her jaw, and pulled her in. Quiet, certain, consuming. Serena melted into it, into her, like she'd been holding her breath for years and finally exhaled. When they broke apart, Alex's forehead pressed to hers. Next time, Alex murmured, don't wait for a stage to tell me. Serena's smile was shaky but real. Next time I won't. The night buzzed with sounds, waves lapping at the shore and flickering bistro lights. For the first time, they did not hide from their need for each other. Chapter 15. Morning light spilled gently over the courtyard. It highlighted the bougainvillea and the old blue shutters Alex had once sworn to replace. Staff moved easily through their tasks, laughter filtering through the air in a way Alex hadn't heard for months. The remaining guests lingered, none in a rush to leave. The community festival had done what no glossy review ever could. The hotel was alive again, not polished but loved. Alex leaned against the railing, coffee cooling in her hand, watching Serena below. She wasn't hiding behind her phone for once. She was helping string up some additional light. Hair messy, face open, she laughed at a joke. It wasn't just a polite chuckle. It was the genuine sound that had touched Alex long before last night. Serena looked up then, caught Alex watching, and instead of glancing away, she came up the stairs. "Morning," she said, a little breathless. "Morning." Alex's tone was careful, but the corner of her mouth betrayed her. Serena fiddled with the hem of her shirt. "I don't know if I said it clearly enough yesterday." Alex arched a brow. "The kiss or the speech in front of 200 people?" Serena flushed, but her voice held. "Both, but I meant it. I'm done hiding." For a long beat, Alex studied her. This was the thing she'd wanted, no, needed. But the rawness in Serena's eyes reminded her it wasn't easy, not by a long shot. Alex reached out, not dramatic, not for the crowd. For Serena. Their hands clasped. "That's all I ever asked," Alex said in a soft voice. The courtyard bustled on around them, oblivious. 2 women standing close, unremarkable except to each other. Later that evening, they climbed onto Serena's Land Cruiser, a bottle of red wine between them, the ocean throwing back the sunset in waves of gold. No masks, no stage, just laughter, soft and unguarded, carried out toward the horizon, seen at last.
Liked this? Every heartbeat in Africa tells a story. Subscribe to feel it.